Hey everyone, Anders here. We're going to go over the latest information on the newly revealed MMORPG Bellatores. This game has been in the works for a while, previously under the Project N1 title, and it is looking like we're finally getting closer to a release, with closed beta playtests set to start at the end of July. Bellatores is a PC MMORPG from Korean developer Nyou, with a deep focus on immersive medieval fantasy gameplay. Founded in 2016, Nyou is a relatively new game studio. They are behind mobile games like Dragon Chronicles, also known as Monster Cry in Asia. That was a card-based RPG game, and Nyou also released Dual Summoners, a free-to-play PvP puzzle game, though according to their CEO in an interview, when asked about their mobile game releases in the past, they emphasized Bellatores is really their first proper development project for the PC. They've published mobile games in the past that were created by independent game studios, and they have internal game development studios that work on lighter online games, including mobile games, but Bellatores is really their first major attempt at both developing and publishing a PC game. They mentioned they want to bring Bellatores to consoles in the future, but their current priority is to concentrate on the PC version. Back in 2019, they secured over $8 million in funding just 2 years after starting development on Bellatores. Fast forward to 2022, 5 years into the development cycle, and you raised an additional $25 million, this time to fuel development with Unreal Engine 5, bringing photorealistic graphics, dynamic weather, and advanced character animations to Bellatores, which at that point in time was being developed in Unreal Engine 4. The developers promised deep gameplay systems focused on PvP combat, strategic group warfare, and dynamic environments that respond to player actions. Battles will be heavily influenced by terrain, unit positioning, and weather conditions, adding layers of realism to that combat. The map will be seamless, no loading screens as we move from zone to zone. You can gather, you can craft, and group up with other players for PvE raids and dungeons, and PvP content like sieges. They want players to set up their own personalized progression goals similar to the typical sandbox style of MMO design. The story revolves around 5 noble houses that remain after the fall of a medieval kingdom. You start the game as one of these houses and are able to make choices in the campaign to dictate which house you ultimately end up in. From what we know so far, it seems like these houses act like the game's factions. The greater your progression within a house, the greater influence you may have with other elements in the game world. Instead of a traditional leveling system, there is a mastery system in place for each weapon and path. Mastery seems to control your progression for combat, life skills, and crafting. Pretty much everything revolves around this mastery system. As you obtain more mastery and reach certain milestones in the mastery tree, you will gain new abilities and ways to change the way your skills work. This should allow you to find the playstyle you enjoy for any particular weapon or path. Crafting mastery is also pretty important as it directly affects the efficiency, the yields, and even rarity of the items you can craft. This is important since gear seems to come solely from crafting and not grinding. You can either gather the materials to craft your armors and weapons, or trade with other players who have crafted those items you want. The stats and appearance of armors will be directly influenced by the crafter's mastery skill, making crafting a core part of the gameplay loop for the game. They hope this allows players who like to focus more on the crafting and gathering aspect of an MMO than, say, combat and PvP, allows them to hold an important role in the community. There will also be a limit to how many expert masteries each player can attain on their character, meaning you can't simply become a master crafter for every single type of item, so they emphasize the need to work together with other players to be able to progress. Your character's look and design can change depending on which masteries you choose to focus on. This will have an effect on your overall proficiency in the game's combat, crafting, gathering, economic, and political content. We assume they mean it will change the available gear designs for your character, not the actual character customization itself. They want you to be able to roleplay the medieval archetype you want by also making everyone need to cooperate to collectively progress. Combat itself will be a mix of real-time action and tactical planning, they're calling it. The upcoming beta will use a non-targeting combat system designed for mouse and keyboard. It looks similar to the Throne and Liberty design. Weapon swapping is also a key part of the combat system. You can mix and match any 2 weapons. There are no restrictions and no classes. They are also adding a stamina system for evading and dodging attacks. AoE farming is a possibility for smaller monsters, and 1v1 engages against elite monsters and bosses will require pattern learning and group cooperation. They also mention tactical combat being key in PvP content, things like charging cavalry through foggy forests, launching ambushes under the cover of night, or fortifying positions in anticipation of a siege. They want to blend sandbox freedom with the thrill of large-scale warfare. While the release window is still a bit hazy, the game is targeting a global PC release, and the first closed beta test registrations are already underway, though this beta will be solely in Korean, so please be aware there will be no localization if you try to take part in the beta test. This beta will also be locked to just 2 of the noble houses as they focus on getting feedback on the non-targeting combat system, the mastery system, and the overall vision for the game. That's all we know about Bellatores so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you like the look of the combat, the general gameplay? Do you like the reliance on crafters for progression? Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.